Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Stretchies and Stuff. My name is Jane, and today I have got a nice 30-minute post-workout stretch for you. So this is going to be a great workout for anybody who's done a full body workout, their whole body is just feeling tired, and it's also really focuses a lot on the shoulders and would be great for post-surf recovery. So for this class, you will need 2 blocks. They're kind of optional, the blocks, but you're going to want to have a strap. So you can use a house coat tie or a real yoga strap and have a chair nearby for our final resting pose. Let's get started. So we are going to get started lying flat on our bellies on the mat. So get yourself nice and comfortable here. Use your hands as a pillow for your forehead and just start to settle into the breath. You can give your hips a little wiggle from side to side and just start to notice the breath filling the body, softening the body. And bring the hands right underneath the shoulders and give your shoulders 3 nice big circles backwards. So warming up the shoulder blades with the forehead still on the ground. Just see what's going on in the fronts of the shoulders. And now walk your fingertips out so that the hands are under the elbows and come into a finger stand cobra. Exhale to come down. Really focus on pressing the tops of your feet into the ground as you curl your spine up. Keep the back of the neck nice and long. Look forward. Exhale slowly. Bring yourself back down. Last time, circle the shoulders up onto the back and peel yourself up into your finger stand cobra. And we're going to stay here for a few breaths and then exhale, look to the right and drop the left shoulder. You should feel a nice deep stretch in the front of the left shoulder. Inhale, center. Exhale, look left, stretch right shoulder. Try to keep those elbows directly above your wrists. Inhale, once more on each side. Exhale, look right, stretch left. Inhale to come up to center. And exhale, look to the left. Great. Come back up through center and slowly lower yourself back down onto the mat and bring your arms out into a T, or you can have your hands up a little bit higher than in a T if you want more of a stretch in your shoulders for this next one. So bring your gaze over to the left side, and you can always put that left side of or the right side of the head onto a block if you feel like this is uncomfortable for the neck. And now we're going to press into the left hand. Bring the left foot flat on the ground behind the right foot and twist your chest open so that you're getting a nice stretch in that right shoulder. And I like to tent my left fingers on the ground and really push the floor away from the body to try to stretch a little bit deeper. If this feels painful, sharp, or uncomfortable, just come out and find yourself back on your front side body. But if it's feeling good, you can experiment with reaching that left arm back and just see where you can get. Maybe you want to interlace the arms together. If not, stay in the first variation with the left fingers tented on the ground in front of you. Just really opening up through the chest, through the shoulders here. Release the bind if you had it, and then bring that left arm back down in front of your chest. Take a couple more breaths in this stretch in the right shoulder, wherever you are, staying here. And then slowly roll yourself back down onto your belly and look in the opposite direction. If anybody knows of extra long yoga mats for super tall people, let me know. So bring this time your left ear onto the ground, tent the right fingertips, and come into that stretch on the other side. So your choice with that right leg, with that right leg as well. It can be stacked on top of the left, or you can plant the foot on the ground behind the left leg. And again, here on this side, if you did choose to reach back with that right arm, you can do that again, or just keep the right fingers in front of the face and really breathe into the left shoulder. Try to soften anything that you don't need here. Notice if there's tension in the jaw. And again, if that neck feels like it's straining to have the head on the ground, you can always have a block underneath your ear. And you can just try to stay focused here. Stay present. And then slowly roll yourself back down onto your belly. Maybe shake out the hips again like we did before. Notice if the chest is feeling a little bit more open. And now we're just going to come and lie on our left side in a bit of a morning waking up position. We're going to get into the shoulder a little bit more. So sweep that right arm up overhead and bring the palm to face the sky as it comes past 12 o'clock, and just explore what's going on here in the shoulder as you open it up to the sky, and just letting gravity stretch out your shoulder and your pecs a little bit more. You can sweep the arm forward and backwards, and just like you're giving yourself a little stretch or a little Thai massage. Explore what's going on in the shoulder. So just take your time. And now as you come through center, bring the palm to face down. And as you pass 12 o'clock, as you circle the arm around, bring the palm to face up. So we're kind of going through circles and just stopping in that area where it feels like it needs extra stretching. So one more circle. Bring that palm to face the sky. And exhale, bring the right hand down onto the right hip. Press yourself back down onto your belly and just roll right through. Come onto the other side. So circle that arm up overhead and just stop once you get into that nice juicy area just behind the head, and make sure the palm is facing up towards the sky. You can have a nice micro bend in that elbow if it helps you get into the stretch a little bit more. Just explore what's going on here first, and then as you bring the arm around, face the palm down. And as you pass 12 o'clock, which is your head, bring the palm to face the sky and explore. If you ever had a Thai massage, they just get into all of these amazing stretches and then they'll be massaging you simultaneously. So that's nice to imagine. Bring the palm down through center, and one more time, palm faces up. And stretch through that left pec. Breathe into the chest. Soften the jaw. Soften the hips. And come back, lying on your side. Good. And now press yourself up onto your hands and knees. And bring the feet flat and just walk yourself back into a nice child's pose. If you have blocks, it would be good to have them nearby now, but just soften yourself down, stretch out the spine to start, and just release any tension from the lower back. And now look forward and bring your elbows down onto the ground and walk your elbows far away from the body. So it's like you're dragging them back towards the body, and bring the hands into prayer, and maybe bring the thumbs back to the nape of the neck, coming into a nice tricep, but also kind of armpit stretch, really opening up the side body, opening up the shoulders. And either stay here, or here's where the blocks come in. You can place your elbows on the blocks and let your forehead fall down onto the ground in between the blocks, and get a little bit deeper into this stretch by elevating the elbows on the blocks and keeping the hands in prayer, thumbs touching the nape of the neck, and just breathe into the chest and the shoulders here. I love this pose, especially after a surf, probably after a workout too. Try to soften and imagine melting the chest. Okay, release the hands, push the blocks away, and come back into a regular child's pose for a few breaths. And then curl yourself up to hands and knees. Bring your hands so they're right underneath your shoulders and arch the spine. Inhale, look up. Exhale, curl the spine, look towards the navel, stretch out the back body. Inhale, drop the belly, point the tailbone up towards the sky, arch the spine, and exhale, coming into the cat stretch, stretching out the shoulder blades, and come back through center. And now bring your right fingertips to face your knees. We're doing some wrist and forearm stretches here. So breathe into the wrist of the right side. And if you want to get deeper, you can bring your hips closer to your heels, tucking the toes under, and maybe peeling the right hand off the ground. Gently release, and now place the top of the right hand onto the ground, fingers facing the thighs still, and really breathe into the back of the wrist. Gently release. Circle the shoulders back, come into a couple of cat and cows in between sides here. Exhale, look towards the belly. Inhale, arch the spine, look up, coming onto the other side. So this time, left fingers face the left thigh and tuck the toes under. Maybe sit the hips back a little bit if you want to get deeper into the stretch. And breathe into that forearm, breathe into that wrist. And bring yourself back up and reverse. So bringing the back of the left hand onto the mat, fingers face the body, and maybe peel the top of the hand off the ground a little bit by sitting your hips back, but do what feels right for the body. And now in between sides, coming through some cats, cows. Just one round of breath. And this time, if you have the mobility, if not, just do a regular cat-cow, but experiment with some cat and cows with both hands facing the body. So just moving around a little, try to keep a micro bend in the elbows so we're not hyperextending. Just moving through some cat and cows with the wrist stretch. Good. And now bring yourself back to sit on your heels and just give the wrists a couple of rolls in one direction and in the other direction. Soften the breath. Notice if the jaw tensed up or if anything tensed up during that last little exercise. It can be intense. And now come back through hands and knees, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Ooh, nice downward facing dog. If we're feeling sore or tense today, this is going to feel really good in the body. Make sure the fingers are spread nice and wide. All the knuckles are flat on the ground. Back of the neck is soft, and pedal out your legs as much as you want. And now curl yourself forward into a plank. Lower knees, chest, chin down onto the ground, and coming into just a couple mini vinyasas. So inhale into your back bend. Exhale right away, hands and knees, lift the hips, downward facing dog. We're going to do that a couple of times just to continue to warm up the spine and the shoulders, turning on the core. Inhale, come forward, plank. Exhale, lower knees, chest and chin. Inhale, plant the feet on the ground, lift the chest, back bend. And exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. One more time like that. Inhale, bring yourself forward into a plank. Exhale, lower knees, chest and chin. Circle the shoulders onto the back, find your back bend, maybe up dog this time. And exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Enjoy this down dog. Make sure the neck is still nice and soft. See if you can really rest in this pose. So now we're inhaling to reach the right leg up, bend the knee and open the hip, giving a little quad stretch here. Try to keep your shoulders nice and level as you move the hips like this. And then exhale, step that right foot forward, plant your hands on the right knee and just come into a nice low lunge, but then swivel the left leg back so that your left knee is in line with your right heel and your right elbows on your right knee, and we're coming into kind of like a side angle pose but with the knee down, and just reach that left arm up overhead and make some circles again with the left arm. So still opening up the shoulders, creating some strength as well with these circles, and keep the same movement in the palm, so the palm faces down as it comes overhead, and just really move with your breath here. Now coming into stillness, reach through those left fingertips and then plant the left hand down beside the body, stretch the right leg out and reach overhead with your right arm, coming into my favorite side body stretch, this nice modified plank. And then bring both hands to your hips, sit the hips down, back, come into your one-legged child's pose with that right leg off to the side, stretching through the inner thigh of the right leg, stretching through the quad, the back. And inhale, come forward, pivot yourself forward, plant the hands, coming back into this low lunge. Just take a couple of breaths here on your fingertips in this low lunge, and then walk that right hand onto the inside of the right foot. And now option to use your block underneath your forearms or stay on your hands, or as I'm doing here, come all the way down onto your forearms in your lizard lunge. Just a quick hello to the lizard lunge. An option, if it's in your practice, you can plant the left hand and swing the right arm back to come into your quad stretch in lizard pose. Enjoy a couple of nice deep breaths here. Open the chest and exhale. Release that right hand down, tuck the toes, lift the left knee up off the ground, and with control, step that right foot back, find plank, and lift the hips right away, downward facing dog. Shake out the hips from side to side, get into those calves, get into those hamstrings, and roll yourself forward into plank. Exhale, lower either with knees or chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to lift the left leg up, and then bend the left knee and come into that open hip stretch. Try to keep the shoulders level. Inhale, straighten the left leg, and exhale, knee to nose, coming into your low lunge. Plant your hands on your left knee momentarily, and then swivel that right leg back, coming into this modified side angle pose, really reaching that right arm up overhead. You can't see this, but my palm is facing down. So as it passes overhead, bring the palm to face up and make those nice big circles that we did on our side, really opening up through the shoulders, giving yourself a bit of a massage here. And after your third circle, just pause with the right arm reaching away from the body, and then plant the right arm down by the right hip, straighten the left leg, and come into our lovely side opening stretch. I always say this in this pose, but do what feels best for the neck here. And exhale, circle the arms forward, sit the hips back, come into this one-legged child's pose. Reach through those left toes off to the side, really stretching into the left inner thigh. Soften and then come forward. Pivot yourself to the front of the mat with your hands on the inner line of the left foot, this time coming right into lizard. And you choose either staying up on your hands or coming down to your elbows or blocks, and just breathing into the hips here. Soften Soften the neck. Be gentle with yourself. And if you choose to, you can come into the quad stretch by circling the left arm up and around and reaching for the outer right foot. Maybe experimenting with where your hips are, maybe lifting them up or dropping them down, side to side. Just see what feels best here. Release the quad stretch, lift the back knee, coming in to slowly and with control, bringing that left foot back to meet the right, plank to downward facing dog. Few breaths here. Shake the hips if you want, or stay in stillness. Release the head and bring yourself on your hands and knees. Sit the hips back to the heels. My favorite pose, child's pose. Notice I do this a lot in my classes. It's because it feels so good. Okay, and now we're coming into frog pose. So if you've never done this before, have a look. I always roll my mat up a little bit from either side rather than doing anything else, and then just experiment where you want your knees to be. So I've had mine a little bit wider, and we're putting the inner knees onto the rolled up mat, as you can see, and this might already be really intense, so you can stay up on your hands, no problem, and just rock your hips forward and backwards. Experiment with what feels good with the feet as well. The toes are pointing off to the side. And make sure the neck is soft as you release your upper body down any amount. So with straight arms on forearms, or if you're really flexible, you might be all the way down on your chest. But just explore this pose. It's a really great stretch, but it can be really intense and uncomfortable. So again, be gentle with yourself. Now plant your hands, come up. That was just a quick little, hey, what's up, to frog pose. Unroll your mat, give it a little wipe off, and come into the middle of your mat in a standing forward fold with your feet just about hips distance. Stretch out the hamstrings here for a moment, and then inhale, circle the arms up all the way overhead and come right down into your yogi squat malasana. So the feet are a little bit wider, the toes are pointing off to the sides, and you're really pressing the triceps into the inner thighs. And now reach that right arm back behind if you choose to, or you can just keep it where it is and reach the right arm up to the sky and exhale, come back, come on to the other side, reaching the left arm up towards the sky and exhale, come through center, lift the hips, heel toe the feet back in towards each other. And here is an option. You can come into your malasana again like we just did, or come on your toes and maybe come into a bit of a forward fold with the knees off to the side. Try to keep your heels together, and then option to reach back for the heels, maybe bringing your forehead onto the ground. This is just something to explore for those who are feeling more flexible today. Breathe into the back. If you feel anything in the knees, you can come right out of this pose. And now plant your hands. Bring your knees back together and walk yourself down into a seated position. So here's a great time to use your block. Feel free to have a seat up on your block just so that your hips are a little bit higher than your knees, and grab your strap, and we're going to come into some delicious shoulder stretches. So starting with the strap in your hands with your fists just about in line with your shoulders, and just try to rip that strap apart. So you're going to feel your traps waking up, and find a distance between your fists that feels right as you reach it up overhead and come into a cactus shape. So still trying to rip that strap apart and bending the elbows. You can bring the chin to the chest a little bit if you like, but try to keep the shoulders over the hips. Inhale to come back through center, and exhale. Bring the strap out in front of you once again. Good. Inhale, reach that strap up overhead, and exhale, come into cactus. If it's really intense, you can bring your fists wider. If you want more, you can bring them closer together, pulsing here. So lift and lower. 2 more times. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend the elbows. Okay, I was wrong. We have several more of these. And then inhale, reach up. Exhale, bring it back in front of the body. And this time, reaching back, widening your grip, and coming back with straight arms. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, in front. So your grip is going to want to be quite a bit wider for this one, for shoulder mobility, at least for me. Inhale through center. Exhale in front. Again, like this. Inhale through center. Exhale to the back, and stay here with your arms back behind you. Again, check in, zip up the core, keep the shoulders over the hips, and twist. Look right. Inhale, center. Exhale, look left. Inhale, center. Reach that strap up overhead and bring it in front of you. Whew. Let it go. Give yourself a nice little bit of love in the shoulders. And now we're going to come into a nice tricep stretch. So you can use your strap, holding it with both hands behind your back and just pulling the right elbow up towards the sky. Or if you have the mobility, you don't need to use the strap. You can bind your hands, just coming into that stretch. If the strap doesn't feel good, you can also just put your left hand on top of your right elbow for this one. Switching sides if you're using the strap. Switching sides anyway for everyone. Stretching now that left tricep. Try to keep the core engaged. Try not to slouch forward. Nice posture here. Soft neck, soft jaw, soft brow. All about softness. All right, release. And now, like you're about to give me a big hug, open your arms out and come into a shoulder stretch, bringing that left shoulder across the chest, pulling it into the body with your right arm. Inhale, hey, let's have a hug. Just kidding. Exhale, give yourself a shoulder stretch. Feels really good to open your arms as though you're about to hug somebody, by the way. Inhale, open, and exhale. Remove the block. Come back down onto your seat and lower yourself all the way down onto the ground. I'm going to give you a nice hip stretch now. First, just bring your feet as wide as the mat and let your knees fall in towards each other. Constructive rest pose. And then bring your knees up into your hands and just focus on letting the legs go. So your hands are in control here. You're letting your knees be really soft and limp. And you're letting your whole legs be soft as you make circles with the knees, with the hips. Well, with the leg bones into the hip socket. So switch directions of your circles now. And notice the nice stretch on the lower back here. All right, release that right foot down and cross the left foot over the right upper or lower thigh, just above the knee, coming into a figure 4. Bring the right knee in towards the chest. If you want to go farther, you can always leave that right foot down onto the ground, just stretching out the left hip. Such a good old classic hip stretch, but so effective for the lower back, the outer hips. Releasing tension. You can always flex those left toes, always flex the left toes no matter what, but option to push on the inner left knee, gently encouraging the knee farther away from the body. And then drop that whole structure over to the right and come into a twist. So you can use your right hand to hold onto your right ankle, or you can gently push on that inner knee a little bit more. You should feel a really nice stretch in your outer hip here. A nice spinal twist too. The gaze is over the left shoulder. And gently release the figure 4 shape and just bring your knees stacked onto each other, coming into a spinal twist here. Simple supine twist. And gently bring yourself back to center. Give yourself a nice big hug and come onto the other side. So plant that left foot down onto the ground, cross the right ankle just above the left knee, and either keep that left foot on the ground or bring that structure in towards the chest. Sometimes I just like to hold on to my left foot and make sure that my right foot, and make sure the toes are really flexed here, and then gently push that knee away to get deeper into the stretch. But you can interlace your hands over that shin, over the hamstring, whatever feels good for you. And then drop that structure on over to the side. You can gently use the left hand to push the right knee away from the body as you gaze over the right side. Soften the belly. Really winding down here from our already windy downy class. So now just stack your knees on top of each other and come into your supine twist. Imagine your spine like a spiral staircase, visualizing the vertebrae. And then come through center, happy baby, however you want. I'm somewhat flexible. I always stretch my legs out straight to start, just to really get into it, and then explore by bending one knee, straightening one knee, rocking from side to side. And then I always remind myself to push my tailbone down towards the ground, because sometimes I compensate by rolling my back up a little bit too much. So if you feel like it's an easy stretch, experiment with that. And now let's come right back into that constructive rest pose. And you stay here, don't mind me, I'm just getting my chair. So if you need to grab your chair as well, just place it somewhere that you can lie back down and bring your calves onto the chair. If you have your strap handy, I like to tie it around my upper thighs so that I don't have to use any hip strength or any effort at all to keep my legs nice and comfy here. And make sure the shoulder blades are nice and flat on the ground. Make sure you're comfortable here. If you need a pillow underneath your back or your head or your shoulders, feel free. But just enjoy this as our final resting pose. Allowing for real softness in the thighs, softness in the calves, softness in the feet, and everything just melts down into the earth using gravity. Scan the body. Notice what you can let go of here. If you are able to stay here for longer, I encourage you to pause the video and rest here for as long as you want. We have a little bit longer. Well, actually, if you're closing off with me, gently roll yourself off the chair, remove the strap, keep your eyes closed, keep yourself nice and calm, and close your practice, bowing into yourself with gratitude for this practice and for your efforts. Thank you so much for practicing with me. If you enjoyed this, let me know. If you have any requests, let me know. And don't forget to subscribe and do all that other fun stuff that keeps us in touch. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.